Welcome to the Daddyhood Rocks podcast with John Wolford and Brandon Miller. We are here to encourage you, empower you, and strengthen you so you can engage, level up, and have fun being a dad. We are going to have guests, deep conversations, hilarious stories, and insights that will give you the strength you need so you can be the dad you gotta be. And now, here are your hosts, John Wolford and Brandon Miller.
Welcome to another episode of the Daddyhood Rocks podcast. I am John Wolford. This is Brandon Miller, and we are so incredibly excited to have you here. We're so incredibly blessed that you've decided to join us on this journey that we've kind of begun, and we're continuing. Brandon, I think this has been just such an incredible adventure with you. And an adventure with our listeners too. How are you feeling?
Man, I count myself really fortunate to have this opportunity to do something creative with my best friend, doing something that is therapeutic for me, and I know it's therapeutic for you. Something beneficial for dads. It's something that we're passionate about, helping dads just to engage, to level up, and have fun. So I mean, all the way around, it's a win-win-win sort of situation, and our kids hopefully can reap the benefits too. So I love it, and I feel like we're getting better each time, or most of the time. Sometimes we have to go low tech a little bit, but the guests we've had on, great variety, great stories with motivation, inspiration. It's been fantastic. So. And tonight is definitely no different with Eli Morales from Chicago. He and I, we got to work together. We worked at Books A Million many years ago. We were both in management, and we helped each other survive our time there, and mostly through ridiculous fifth grade style humor, and which you and I are no strangers to either. So yeah, what did you think of our podcast with our interview with him? I mean, is this something worth looking forward to?
I think it's definitely something worth looking forward to. I think, yes, we have gotten better. And yes, we have had great guests in the process of getting better. But man, it's so incredible to pick and choose something from each guy, and even the single moms that we've had on. Yes. We've been able to take away from that. And so, yes, this is therapeutic for me. And for those of you that don't know, we record on Friday nights. We release on Friday nights, but we also record on Friday nights. And for Brandon and I both, we look forward to Friday every single week. I mean, we count down the days till Friday, because this is so much fun for us to engage with each other about engaging with our kids, and that's a beautiful thing. And if you don't have that in your life, find that person, because this is not just a podcast. This is something for our brotherhood, and we're able to play off of each other and learn from each other and grow with each other as dads. So I think, yes, tonight is something to look forward to, but I think every podcast has been something, every interview has been something to look forward to, because we've been able to take away from it.
Oh, I love it. And yeah, it's been just a phenomenal journey so far, and we're just getting started. So if I'm calculating correctly, I think this is episode 13, 12 or 13. And man, it's exciting. So with that said, I really think our listeners are going to enjoy the heck out of our conversation with Eli Morales. Down to earth, fun, funny, and he's passionate about being a dad. And it's super clear. So without any further ado, we're going to pass the ball over to Eli Morales. Welcome to another episode of the Daddyhood Rocks podcast. We are here with my friend Eli Morales. Thank you so much for carving out time from the beginning of your weekend to hang out with John, with me. It is so good to catch up with you. It's been a handful of years since we've actually had a chance to really chat and to catch up. A lot of life has happened since our days working at Books A Million to now. But also, even apart from working together previously, your wife, my wife, the four of us were able to get some time together with meals and hanging out, having fun, playing games. And then with children getting into the mix, that was definitely something that we were able to enjoy all together. So Eli, welcome. Would you take a moment to introduce yourself to our listeners, introduce your family, your wife, your son, your child on the way, your dog, any other pets, your zoo? Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Appreciate it. First off, thank you guys for having me. It's an honor to be on this kind of a podcast. I've been on a couple of other sports podcasts, but this is something a little bit bigger in terms of meaning. So I really appreciate it. My name is Eli. I'm turning 30 this year, big 30. I have been married for 5 years to my wonderful, beautiful wife, Rebecca. We have a 3-year-old, Ezekiel. We call him Zeke, obviously, for short. He is a bundle of joy. I feel like he skipped his and we were talking about this in the pre-show, but I feel like he didn't, because I don't like to put the terrible 2 labels on kids because I feel like it's just like bad juju, I guess. But he definitely skipped his terrible 2s, and he has been a handful as a 3-year-old. So that's been great. But I mean, he's at the same time, he's just developing his own character. Like, he's becoming an actual little person now. So just like saying new things, obviously, and doing new things and just making us laugh all the time. So that's been great. And my wife is pregnant with our second child. We found out on Christmas Eve. So
that's awesome.
That was crazy.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. That was an awesome Christmas present. We don't know the gender yet. We'll find out in a couple of weeks, but we are hoping and praying for a girl. The reason being is because I have 2 older brothers. I believe it's 6 nephews, 6 or 7 nephews. One niece who lives in Florida.
Hard to keep track of, right?
Becca has 3 younger brothers, so it's just all boys in both of our families. So we want a girl. My mom is also praying for a girl. She wants a girl so bad. She has her granddaughter, but like I said, she lives in Florida, so she doesn't see her very much. We're hoping for a girl. The baby is due September 8th, which is same month as my birthday, September 23rd. Zeke's birthday is October 11th. So fall time is just chaotic for us, which we love it. That's pretty much me.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
That's awesome. You left out a really important fact that you're a huge Chicago sports fan.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I can respect that. Go Red Wings. And
oh no.
You have a podcast, Deep Dish in Sports. What's your favorite thing about working with your co-host Bruce and doing your podcast?
Man, Bruce is like a brother to me. We've known each other for I don't know how many years, but it's been years. And the way we kind of started it was we worked together at a company called American Transport Group. And we were working in the same department, and we sat like right back to back with each other. And all we would do is talk sports. We would get little to no work done. And all we would do was just argue about sports, debate, talk, just everything. And we were like, you know what? We need to actually work. Let's do something away from work. Let's just start a podcast. Why not? I listened to sports talk radio. Waddle and Sylvie were kind of like my inspirations into starting a podcast. I wanted to be in sports radio for a while because of them. But yeah, we were just like, let's just do it. If no one listens to us, so what? At least we have a platform to talk sports and do what we love. So we started the podcast, and Bruce is he's an awesome co-host. We gelled from the start of the podcast. I mean, the biggest compliment that we would get from people who listen to us was how well we would play off of each other. He's so calm, cool, collected. I'm kind of like, I'm not a hothead, but I'm definitely more animated than he is, especially in topics that I'm much more passionate about, like Andy Dalton signing for 1 year, $10 million. But yeah, I mean, he's the best co-host. Like I wouldn't ask for another co-host ever. But yeah, I mean, I love doing the podcast. It's an outlet. You know what I mean? It's a place to escape. It's a place to kind of get your creative juices flowing, which I'm sure you guys have experienced that as well doing this podcast.
Absolutely.
But it's definitely therapeutic. It's definitely therapeutic. It really, especially in a time where like taking care of your mentals is in the utmost importance now with, quarantining and COVID and everything going on in the world. It's nice to just jump on a mic for an hour and a half, not worry about all your stresses, except maybe sports stresses, depending on what teams you're a fandom of. But yeah, and just talk sports. It's awesome. I love it.
Now, speaking of the mentals and stress, how about that Chicago Bears quarterback situation? Mitchell Trubisky out, going to the Bills to be a backup. And then now you have the love of your life, Andy Dalton, signing with the Bears to be the starter. What's your hot take on that?
Man, when I saw this question on the questions that you sent me, I was like, I'm going to talk sports this entire podcast. You shouldn't have put that question in here because I have too much to say about it. But
editing is a beautiful thing.
It's that's true. Amen. No, it's I mean, it's disappointing. It sucks. But at the same time, what were you expecting as a Bears fan? I mean, you look at Ryan Pace's history of quarterbacks that he's acquired, and I mean, he's acquired a quarterback in every single way that you can acquire one: draft, free agency, and trade, and has failed at all of them. And obviously Andy Dalton coming in, saying that he's expecting to start, which they told Mike Glennon the same thing when he came in, and look how that went. But yeah, it's just a microcosm of the franchise. I mean, even before I was a fan, like you hear people talk about it all the time. We have, in the history of the franchise, we have never had a 4,000-yard passer. Ever. 100 plus years of football history, and you haven't had a 4,000-yard passer. That says it all.
One of my mental health outpatient therapy clients actually blamed me as a Denver Broncos fan for, having us send Jay Cutler your way. And that was kind of the start of the downhill slide in modern era terms. So you're welcome.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's another part of the equation. Jay Cutler is the greatest quarterback in Chicago Bears history. That also says it all. Like, that's mind-boggling. But yeah, it sucks. This season's gonna be long, and I would love to sit here and say that, I'm not gonna watch, or I'm not gonna buy Bears paraphernalia, or like tell fans not to go to games. But in the NFL, it's different. Like, they have so much money. It's really hard to hit the owners' pockets, kind of like how, I don't know if you guys were paying attention to the Bulls, but when they had Garpax, fans were just like, fire Garpax, don't go to games. It's different when you have 42 home games to affect. That hits their pockets a lot more than 8 home games in the NFL. So there's nothing that we can do at this point except complain as much as possible and hope that they hear us at this point.
Good luck.
That's it. We're gonna need it. I appreciate it.
So shifting gears a ton. Well, I don't know. I mean, Bears management is kind of clowns, and so is Brandon. So you met Brandon at Book a Million.
Shots fired.
I had to segue somehow.
That was a good segue.
You both began your work at Books a Million. That's how you met. What was it like having to work with Brandon?
Wow. Loaded question. It was a nightmare. No, I'm just kidding. It was great, man. It was great. Meeting Brandon, this short, bald guy that all he would do was when you would repeat something, he would squawk like a parrot, or give out Kermit the Frog impressions. The two things I probably remember most about Brandon. But no, he if it wasn't for Brandon, I would have lost my, can I say damn? I would have lost my damn mind at Books a Million. It was great. I mean, we had a lot of other great coworkers too, like Maggie. She was great. Dennis, obviously. But like Brandon, especially with us, both of us being managers, and we were able to kind of like dictate how days would go, and it was great. And I'm so blessed to have met you, Brandon. Yeah, because outside of work, obviously we had the Bible study at your house, and that blessed me and Becca so much. Awesome. Like we actually, it's funny because we just started a podcast. Wow. Can you tell how much I want to get back into podcasting? We should just do a podcast about Bible study.
That's right.
No, we just started a Bible study with Becca's younger brother, Jeremy, awesome. And his girlfriend. And it's crazy because we're doing the book of Mark, which is what me or me, Becca, and you and Kara did. And we're doing it the exact same way too, really? Which is even crazier. But wow. Yeah, it's you guys' relationship with us has had a lasting effect, no doubt. And we miss you guys a lot.
We miss you too, for sure. I mean, the mark of a good friendship is when you can be as ridiculous as you want to be and just stupid, but then turn on a dime and have a serious conversation. That's a sign of a good friendship. And so
agreed.
So yeah, that's awesome. Now, speaking of jobs, I mean, it's no secret that we both had a tough time working at Books a Million. It was a toxic environment, and we tried to combat that as much as possible. For dads who are listening to this, who are working their butts off at jobs that either just they're struggling with, they can't stand, or they just downright hate. What advice do you have for those dads who are wanting to provide for their family, but yet it is a drag every single day? What advice do you have for those dads?
Man, that's a tough one. My advice would be to try and find something else, only because, and we talked about it a little bit, but the times that we're living in, mental health is so important. So important. I can't tell you how many times I've been, or my wife and son have been the victim of me coming home, after a bad day at work, at a job that I didn't like, and just taking my day out on them. Yeah. And it's something that can really, really, really affect dads. I mean, men, because a lot of women are stay-at-home moms, which is great. But it's not a burden, but when you have that kind of weight on your shoulders to carry your family financially, that alone, I don't care if you love your job, that alone is a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So my first advice would be to try to find something else. something that you obviously wouldn't take home with you. You wouldn't, because I mean, like, the most important thing is for you to be mentally okay to spend time with your significant other, whether that be your wife or girlfriend, whoever it is, your baby mama, and then obviously your kids. Because it's already taxing coming home to work. Like I said, even if you like your job, going from work to now you have to go home and be a dad. You have to go home and be a husband. That in itself is a lot. So I would advise to try and find something else. If you can't, therapy. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that I've noticed going in to the nursing field and working in a hospital, especially during this time, I noticed pretty early on that I was taking that home with me. I lost multiple patients today, and so I had to find that outlet somewhere. And sometimes it's Brandon. Like, I've got Brandon, I'm going to message him about it, or find somebody, even if you're not going to a therapist. It's so important for you to have that outlet. Say, hey, I had a crap day at work today. You got to have that outlet. So,
Sure.
yeah, I definitely can respect that. Fast forwarding to now, you've got a son and you've got a kiddo on the way. You've got this weird experience, and we all dads have felt it. This first time you're becoming a dad, it's weird. It's kind of awkward. It's kind of like, is this happening? What was it like when you first found out you were going to be a dad?
It was weird. You put it perfectly. Like, it didn't feel real until like we had like a 3D ultrasound and you could see like the entire shape of the baby's face and the heart and just all of that. That's when it was like, holy crap, this is actually happening. But I mean, it wasn't planned. Neither pregnancy was planned, but it was a huge surprise. But yeah, I mean, it just didn't feel real. It didn't feel real until, like I said, you started to get a heartbeat, you get the ultrasounds and all that. And it was just, I mean, you put it perfectly. It was weird. It was a very weird feeling, but I was excited though. I was super excited. Obviously, when you get married, one of the first questions you get obviously is, when are you guys having kids? When are you guys having kids? So it was like, me and Becca had already been married for 2 years. So it was like, okay, it's a good time. It's a good time. Even though it wasn't planned, it's a good time. So yeah.
And that's cool. Now, as far as your daddyhood journey, what do you know now that you really wish you would have known then?
Probably to enjoy every little moment, because the cliche that you always hear when you're expecting or once you have like an infant is enjoy it. It goes by so fast, and then everyone tells you that, and you're like, okay, we get it, but it's so true. Like, you don't realize why everyone tells you it until time goes by and you're like, oh my God, my kid is walking and talking. And I miss the times when you could just lay your baby down in a bassinet and they would just sleep and you would just watch them sleep. And it was awesome. But yeah, it would definitely be to just slow your mentals down, enjoy each day as it came, enjoy each moment that you got to burp your little one, that you got to have him sleep in your arms. Because now my son is at the point where he sometimes doesn't even want to hug me. And it's just like, dang, where did time go? It's like, man.
All right.
Yeah, you miss those cuddles. as the twins have turned 1, it's like, okay, cool, you're pulling on the dog's ears, but can we just can we go back to where you were cuddly and soft and everything was beautiful? Because holy cow.
And when Xander was 3, this was one of the most heartbreaking moments early on. So every night the bedtime routine would be, sing a song, say a prayer. Xander, Daddy loves you. I love you very much. And when he hit the terrible 3s, he was like, this one night he was like in a bad mood, and he said, "Daddy, I not love you." And I was like, oh, you just said that. And so there was like maybe 2 months where every night I would still say, "Hey, I love you. Good night, Daddy. I not love you." Okay, so I'm glad I persevered, because now so he moved past that, thankfully. But yeah, you don't miss those moments.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely cherishing him with the next baby for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of cherishing moments, what's your favorite game or toy to play with Zeke when you guys are hanging out?
I love playing hide and seek with him, just because it's so funny when he can't find me.
Yes.
And I forgot to mention this in my intro, but I have a 90-pound blue nose pit bull. He also plays hide and seek with my son when he's trying to find me. My dog will try to find me too at the same time. So when my son can't find me, he'll go find my dog to sniff me out.
Yes.
And it's hilarious. But the one thing that I'm looking forward to in terms of toys to play with my son is Legos. Oh, yeah. I love Legos. I walk by the Lego aisle debating buying Legos for myself, not for Zeke, for myself.
Yes.
I love Legos so much, so I cannot wait for him to have that big old tub full of Legos and just build with him. I'm so excited for that.
That's awesome. Very cool. So Eli, would you please share? We love to talk with our guests about embarrassing moments, most disgusting moments. And so for you, what is your most embarrassing daddyhood moment?
There was one time where Zeke vomited on the floor. And put him down. He was an infant at this point, could not walk. Don't know where my wife was, but I put him down, and I thought his vomit was just, a little bit on my shoulder. So I was like, oh, it's no problem. Just put him down and wipe it up, and it'd be nothing. But didn't realize that it was just projectile vomit behind me. There was a whole bunch of vomit behind me. Put him down, turned around, slipped on his vomit.
Ooh.
Didn't completely fall. Caught myself. But yeah, and I was wearing socks. So I would have rather have not been wearing socks, because I hate the feeling of wet socks.
Yes.
But then the feeling of wet vomit sock is even worse.
That's nasty. So, that is so nasty.
Yeah, that was pretty. I mean, no one saw me, so thank you God for that one. But yeah, that was pretty. It took a hit to my self ego a little bit.
That makes sense.
So speaking of that, we've got dads who are just so excited to be dads. That's such a beautiful thing. Including the vomit. It is a beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah.
And so our podcast is here to encourage new dads and young dads just getting into the game, whatever that may mean. So what advice do you have for dads that are new, are young, getting into the game for the first time, even if it's for the first time in an older child's life? What advice do you have?
Patience. You're going to need a lot of patience. And I know for men, that's hard, especially, I know we talked about men that are working and may not like their jobs. Your days are long, whatever. Leave that at work. Come home and just cherish your child. Like, just cherish them. Like, and it goes kind of piggyback off of what I said in terms of what I didn't know back then and what I know now is cherishing those moments. Take every day in itself and just completely, forget all the outside crap and just cherish your child, love on them. And also, whatever you do, and this is very true, I didn't realize it until recently because my son is 3 now, but everything you do around them, they pick up on. Everything you do. So just be very careful with what you do around them, what you say around them, because they pick up on all of it. So just be conscious, obviously. But yeah, for the most part, just really appreciate those moments. Don't take it for granted, because it really does go by fast. And it's such a cliche. It's a broken record. I know everyone says it. It goes by so fast, but it really does. It really, really, really does. So, I mean, always have your camera ready or your phone to, take those funny videos or those Kodak moments, even though we don't use Kodak cameras anymore. But yeah, that would probably be my advice.
Love it. And another thing I think just tying into that is making sure that whether you're married or it's boyfriend girlfriend situation, just your partner, seeing each other as tag team partners, that you're in this together, because
100%.
So you're together, you're better together. And a Books a Million story, highly embarrassing, but that's okay. The intent was really good. Myself on the back. The delivery was not. The delivery was not so good. So I was getting ready to head off to work, and I knew that my wife Kara was not feeling well that day. I think actually it might have been a little bit of morning sickness, to be honest. And so I knew that, hey, I'm heading off to work. She's going to go take a nice hot bath. Sounds great. So I got settled into work at the office there at Books a Million, and I sent Kara a text. Hey, I hope you're feeling better. How's your bath? But I'm not the one. I wasn't paying attention. I did not send that text to Kara. I sent that text to dear old Eli. He didn't let me hear the end of it. So he texted back something like, my bath was fine, or I don't remember exactly what, but I was so embarrassed. But God. What do you remember from that, Eli?
Oh man, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. I actually think I actually screenshotted it and posted it on social media as well.
You most certainly did.
Because I had to. I mean, I'm sorry, but I had to.
Yes.
It was a classic moment. And no, I did not let you live it down, because if the shoe were on the other foot, you wouldn't let me live it down. So
oh, absolutely not.
What? No. What I do that? What are you implying here? Man. But yeah,
it's classic.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, if you can't laugh at yourself, who else are you going to laugh at? So I provide plenty of laughable material. So so Eli, it has been awesome to be able to hang out with you this evening on this episode of the Daddyhood Rocks podcast. Just it's gone by so fast. It's been super enjoyable, and just your down to earth delivery of just your passion and your love for being a dad. And that's refreshing. And I know that our listeners will definitely just get a whole lot out of that. So apart from your shameless plug that we'll do here in a moment, any other comments or anything else you want to put on the table for our listeners before we wrap up for today?
No, nothing. Just thank you to you guys again for having me. I love what you guys are doing. It's, like I said in the pre-show, like it's so different from what everyone else, because everyone's making podcasts nowadays. Mm-hmm. I feel like, and what you guys are doing is very uplifting. It's super helpful to a bunch of people out there. So I'm hopeful that as many people as possible can listen to your guys' podcast, especially the dads, because I love what you guys are doing. It's great.
Awesome. Well, thank you. As far as podcasts go, here is where we are going to insert shameless plug here. So Deep Dish in Sports, how can we find you? How can our listeners jump on board with your amazing podcast?
Yeah, so you could find us on pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's called Deep Dish in Sports. This is our logo. That's what it looks like. And yeah, we're available on Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. Like I said, pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast, and then also YouTube. Deep Dish, youtube.com/Deep Dish in Sports. We put like little segments of our episodes up on there, and I try to edit them and make them look cool and funny. But
I'm sure that takes a lot of work.
It's no, wait, was that a shot?
Fire!
Shots fired. No, but I mean, we haven't put it up an episode in a while. Me and Bruce have kind of taken a couple month-long sabbatical for multiple reasons, most of them personal. But yeah, we plan on jumping on soon. So Awesome. Make sure you guys at least go subscribe, and then once we put a new episode up, you'll be notified.
And in the meantime, do some binge watching, binge listening, catch up from the beginning, see what you guys have put out there, and enjoy the heck out of it, and then wait for the next episode.
Yes, go listen to us vent about the Bears, because it's going to be very similar to what our next episode will probably be.
All right. Man, well, lover of Eli.
Wow.
Dude, awesome to hang out. And our season 1 ends on Father's Day, which we're really excited about. And then season 2 picks up in the end of August. So we definitely would love to reach out and see if you'd be willing to jump in sometime during season 2, because we've really enjoyed this podcast, and great catching up with you. So, all right.
Of course.
Of course.
All right, guys.
All right, dude.
Yeah, just hit me up. Of course, I'll be willing to jump back on with you guys. It was a pleasure.
Awesome, dude. All right. Well, have a great night and enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will see you sometime soon. All right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. See you, Eli.
Thank you.
What a great interview with Eli Morales. So it was a chance for 3 fifth graders to hang out together trying to do a podcast.
He's what every dad should aspire to be. I mean, he's easygoing. He loves his kids, and he said something that really stuck out to me, and that was, don't miss those little moments. You know, the burping of the baby, the cuddling the baby. Every dad should aspire to not miss those moments, and should focus on not missing those moments, because they are going to be gone one day.
Absolutely. Now, thinking of just cherishing those moments, I think we have lots of opportunities to kind of stand up and to step forward and to help our families in various ways in the day-to-day, in the big picture of things. So John, can you think of an example of maybe when you've come out of your shell for the sake of your family?
Yeah, I mean, I exited the Army in 2017 with a plan to become a doctor. I had entered into a pre-medicine degree at Bethel University, formerly Bethel College here in northern Indiana, and I was excited about it. I was going to become a doctor. There was nothing that was going to stand in my way. But, as I began kind of a really long and arduous process of battling for custody of my boys and getting some time with my boys, I realized that was just not going to be possible. And then met my wife, and we wanted to have more kids. I just realized that med school wasn't going to cut it. And so I decided to go into nursing, and I didn't want to at the time. In fact, I kind of disliked the thought of even becoming a nurse. But I took that on the chin, and I'm glad that I did, because I love nursing now. And I'm so thankful for nursing, because it really has given me a completely new outlook on life as a dad and life as a husband. And yeah, it's just been awesome. But it was a really difficult process to change the mindset that I had to go into this profession.
But you are on the doorstep of being done, being able to be done with schooling, getting into your job that you've already locked down, and so then the fun really begins. And then with that, you're going to be able to provide really well for your family.
Absolutely. Yep. And I'll have time with my family, which is something that I wouldn't have had I continued my own selfish desire to become a doctor.
That's huge. So with that, in a way, you have come out of your shell for the sake of your family. You have won the "I am not shellfish." This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. You've won the "I'm not shellfish" award, and congratulations, sir.
I appreciate that. I will write my speech to the Academy at a later date. You can look forward to that. But I appreciate the "I am not shellfish" award.
All right, wonderful. Well, dude, we are so. It's great being on this train that's going 100 miles an hour, barreling down the tracks, and we're picking up guests along the way, and that's not changing. We have some pretty notable names coming up, a lot of fun coming up, and we're running with a full head of steam towards Father's Day, the end of season 1. Imagining ahead, this is an unscripted question for you, bro. What are you most excited about jumping into season 2 when we do that later on in the fall towards, say, the end of August?
One thing that I've been thinking about is we've been coming up with stuff a lot on the fly, and it's just kind of like you said, that train's going 100 miles an hour. Sometimes it feels like it's 200 miles an hour or even 300 miles an hour. But we're always coming up with stuff. I can't wait to have just a few months of planning with you.
Yes.
To do really big things. We want to get you, our listeners, involved in any way that we can. And so maybe it will be interviews. Maybe we'll have something else. And I can't wait to have months of planning just huge things to kick off season 2 with. And season 2 is going to be longer than season 1 has been. And so we're going to have all of this time to plan for all of this time. And so I'm really excited to be able to do that. And I'm excited for the conversations that you and I are going to be able to have behind the scenes to make everything that we throw out just fantastic and awesome.
No, I couldn't have said that better myself. That it's onward and upward, just improving in every which way. Just being able to be deliberate with how we put this out there to be a benefit to dads. And we want to, again, we've said this many times. We have huge hopes and dreams for Daddyhood Rocks, even beyond just a podcast. Whoever you are, single moms, dads, jump on in. Follow us on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And of course, we're here video wise on YouTube. For now, it's BK Miller. Easy to find. We'll transition eventually to the Daddyhood Rocks podcast channel. But in the meantime, find us there on any of the platforms that carry your favorite podcasts. We are there. And we would love to continue this journey with you. Whether you've listened to every single episode, watching us, act like fools, or if you're just brand new to the party, keep on going with us. Because this is just going to be continue to be an amazing adventure. So with that said, we appreciate you, and we are so glad that you're part of this thing. John, I appreciate you, and let's just keep on going. With that said, Daddyhood rocks, and so do you.